there, my name is Bandy, and this is my channel, BandysBooks, and today it's February 1st. We're here to talk about my February TBR. Before we jump into that though, if you can, hit the like button down below, and then let's get started with the books. I wanted to say before we dive into the TBR that February is Black History Month, and in honor of Black History Month, I've curated an entire TBR of books written by Black authors. Reading diversity is a focus for me. It's not something that's relegated to one month of the year. So that being said, let's talk about the readathon that I'm participating in. BOTM hosts Blackathon every single year. They've been doing this for about half a decade, I think, if I remember correctly. It's really an impressive readathon. There are events, reading sprints, things that cross over to Instagram from YouTube, and the engagement across BookTube for this event is phenomenal. This will be the first time that I've been able to participate in it, and this will actually technically be the first readathon that I've ever fully participated in. I did sign up for Historathon last year, but unfortunately I got COVID, and so I never really got to engage with that process. So I'm very excited to finally get to participate in a readathon. BOTM picks out a theme for the entire event. So this year's theme is warriors, which I love. I already am vibing with the warriors part. But then there's 3 different teams that you can pick within this warrior theme. I will link the video announcing Blackathon down below so that you can watch it and learn all about it in great detail. I signed up for Team Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut was the longest running female Egyptian pharaoh, and there's also some discussion of their gender identity. So the way that this works is each team has a character, and then the prompts on the team are based on qualities of that character. So I'm going to go over the prompts really quick. I'm going to have to read them because I can't memorize all of them, but we're going to discuss them. So prompt number 1 is a book by a trans Black diasporic author. Prompt number 2 is a book with a Black girl protagonist who is not afraid to be loud, confrontational, or unapologetic. Prompt number 3, a book of any genre with impressive creative architecture or set largely in one building. Prompt 4, a book with lavishly wealthy characters or that explores class. And then the bonus group book is She Would Be King by Wayetu Moore. So now that you know the prompts that I'm going to be working with, let me just go ahead and get into my TBR. Typically my TBR is about 20 books for an individual month, but I have kind of a unique situation this month because I have a lot of books selected because I wanted to create a really diverse TBR. I wanted to include all the different genres, and I'll kind of get into some of that as we go through the TBR. But I also received a couple ARCs that got approved like within the last week, and I had a couple audiobooks that I've been on the wait list for a long time get approved as well. So I'm including those within my TBR. I think in the past I've only focused on just my physical books, but we're just gonna make a quick mention of the couple ARCs and the audiobooks, as well as what I've ordered from Book of the Month. So it's a lot to talk about. We're gonna go through this pretty quickly just because I don't want this to be a 3-hour video. We're gonna start with my ARCs, which I received through NetGalley in this particular case. The first ARC that I received is Daughter in Exile by BC Adjapone. It published at the end of January. So a rough summary of this book is 21-year-old Lola is living in Senegal. She meets a American man, falls head over heels in love, and is considering moving to the United States. Her mother, who's Ghanaian, is very against her moving, and she, makes this deep personal choice to move for this man that she loves, and she basically gets to the United States, and it's about learning to cope with the culture and society here. The next ARC that I have is How to Save Babylon by Sophia Sinclair. This is going to be dropping in the end of August, and it is about Sophia's own life. It's her memoir of growing up with a strict patriarchal Rastafarian father. It's been compared to Uneducated by Tara Westover and Born a Crime by Trevor Noah, both of which are 2 of my favorite memoirs. So I think this is going to be right up my alley. I'm really excited to get into this one. For my audiobooks that came in, I picked up a handful of books. The first book that I picked up is Riot Baby by Tochi Onyebuchi. This is actually one of the bonus books for one of the other groups. I believe it's Team Granny Nanny. And I wasn't familiar with it. I looked into it. It sounded so interesting. So I decided that I was going to read it in addition to the other books that I'm reading for Blackathon already. I also got a copy of If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. I have been chronically terrible at reading classics, just any classics. It doesn't matter how old classic, modern classic, what kind of classic it is. I'm just not a big classic reader, and I blame that a lot on being forced to read really dry, dusty classics as a kid. But one of the things that I think I'm going to try to do this year is incorporate a few classics here and there and see if I can't maybe change my mind. So I thought James Baldwin was a great place to start. I do have one of his physical books on my TBR, but I know that If Beale Street Could Talk is one of his most famous. so I picked the book that I have is How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. This is a book that's been popping up on Bookstagram and BookTube quite a bit over the last year, and I've heard excellent reviews of it, that it's a really important book. I don't have a physical copy, so I picked it up on audiobook and I will be listening to it throughout the month. And in my quest to continue my classics, I picked up The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. This is a book I've been hearing a lot about. I know it's a heavily banned book. I know it's one of her most recognized books. And so I am going to be listening to it throughout this month as well. Before we get into the physical books, the last little bit is my book of the month picks. I got 3 books, all of them I'm very excited about. I got Mame by Jessica George, River Sing Me Home by Eleanor Shearer, and Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. All 3 are books that I'm very excited to read. Gorgeous covers, sound like they're going to be really moving stories, and I'm actually really thinking that I'm probably going to get to at least 1 or 2 of them during this month. And finally, I'm doing a buddy read on Instagram with my good friend AllieLovesToRead. Me and her do buddy reads almost every single month. We pick out a book, we read it throughout the month, and then we get together and discuss the themes in the book, and I really love it. It's something that I really enjoy doing, and I'm happy we've continued to do. So for this month, we're reading We Are Not Like Them by Christine Pride and Joe Piazza. This is a book that I've heard a lot about, and I'm looking forward to diving into with her. So now into the physical TBR. The first book that I have is Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender. This was a recommendation for one of the prompts on Blackathon for Team Hatshepsut. Very excited about this. I've had this very beautiful book on my shelves for such a long time. And then Deacon King Kong by James McBride. This is what I would consider a really recent classic. I see this recommendation all the time. And I have What Storm, What Thunder by Miriam J.A. Chansey. This is about Haiti post-earthquake. I have Wahala by Nikki May. This Close to Okay by Lisa Cross Smith. And Sing Unburied Sing by Jessamine Ward. This one's a National Book Award winner. I'm really excited about that. And then in the next stack, I have The Power of Dignity, How Transforming Justice Can Heal Our Communities by Judge Victoria Pratt. This book I received as a book from Goodreads, I think a couple months before the end of the year, and I've skimmed through it. I haven't read it all completely yet, but it sounds so interesting. I'm really looking forward to that. I have Unbound by Tarana Burke. This is the woman that created the Me Too movement, which was kind of stolen from her, and she didn't receive all the credit that she deserved for all of her work for sexual assault survivors, so I'm really interested in hearing her story. And I have The Changeling by Victor Laval. This is my horror pick for the month. I'm actually super excited about getting into this. I love the cover of this book. I have No Heaven for Good Boys by Keisha Bush. This one my mom read and told me is a heartbreaker, so I am nervous about getting into this because I know it's going to hurt me, but I'm looking forward to it as well. I have Transcendent Kingdom by Yad Yassi. This is one of those books that I hear a lot about. I haven't actually read anything by this author. I know Homegoing was her other book. I have The Office of Historical Corrections by Danielle Evans. Heard really good things about this one as well. And The Mothers by Britt Bennett. I have read The Vanishing Half. I enjoyed that one, so I thought I would check this one out. This was Britt Bennett's debut book, and I've heard it's pretty good as well. After that, I have Black Buck by Matteo Ascariapur. I have His Only Wife by Peace Adzo Mehdi. I have Remembrance by Rita Woods. And I have Memorial by Brian Washington, which is about 2 men who are in a relationship, but their relationship is kind of coming to an end, and their exploration of how to either move on or bring themselves back together as a couple. And then next I have Ties That Tether by Janie Caro. This one's a funny one for me because I don't really typically read romance. However, I did make a concerted effort to put a couple romance books on this TBR because while we are celebrating Black authors, I think it's also important to celebrate Black joy and Black love. And then I have The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. This is such a joy to me. I picked this up at a used bookstore and it's a signed copy. I don't know if they realized it was a signed copy, but that made my day. I love N.K. Jemisin. I've read the Broken Earth trilogy, which was amazing, and I'm so excited to get into this one. And then in my continuation of trying to read a couple classics, I have Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston and Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. Both of these are very thin books, so I'm sure I'll be able to get through these pretty quickly. I also have Blacktop Wasteland by S.A. Cosby. If you have watched my channel regularly, you'll know that I loved Razorblade Tears, so I'm really looking forward to getting into this one. Then I have The Proposal by James Guillory. This was a book that was given to me by my friend Anna, the Sustainable Reader. It was gifted when I was having a really difficult point in life. She sent me this beautiful like little box with, you know, some self-care goodies and this sweet romance to read. So I had this on my shelf for a bit and looking forward to finally getting into it. And then I have Hold You Down by Tracy Brown, which I received as an advanced reader copy at the end of last year. I'm looking forward to reading this one as well. And finally, I have NW by Zadie Smith. So that's the end of my whole entire TBR, both my physical TBR and my non-physical TBR. I hope this was enjoyable for you. If it was, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Comment down below and let me know what you're reading for the month of February. And if you are reading for Black History Month, let me know if there's any books that you think I should absolutely be checking out, because I will put them on my list for later in the year. And if you're not already subscribed to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, as well as the notification bell so you never miss a video, and that way we can chat again soon. All right, thanks so much for joining. Bye.